Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Rally Cap Reviews. Today is the fifth and final part of the World Baseball Classic preview. Today we'll be going over the bracket preview and bracket predictions. If you're watching this after the tournament started, just note that these are the predictions based off who I predicted to make it into the quarterfinals based off their results in pool play. If you don't know how the tournament format is, basically from each pool, the top two teams would advance, so the winner and the runner up. And how it works is the first game will be between the Pool A runner up and the Pool B winner. The second game between the Pool B runner up, Pool A winner. The winners of those would play the first semifinal. The other quarterfinal matchups will be the Pool C runner up, the Pool D winner. The fourth quarterfinal will be the Pool D runner up, the Pool C winner. Then the winner of each of those games would play each other in the second semifinal, and then the winners of the semifinals would play in the championship. So just keep that in mind as we're going through it. We're going to start with going through each quarterfinal game, each semifinal game, and the championship. If you have not watched parts 1 through 4 of the World Baseball Classic previews that went through each pool, previewed all the teams, I recommend doing that first before watching this video, as I will have given more in-depth analysis and my thoughts about each team in those videos than this one. This one's just going to be more about picking who wins and giving some reasons why I think that. So, as I said, I already made all of these predictions in the last videos. Again, you'll want to go watch those first. But essentially, Pool A winner, I had Puerto Rico. Pool A runner-up, Canada. Pool B winner, United States. Pool B runner-up, Mexico. Pool C winner, Japan. Pool C runner-up, Korea. Pool D winner, Dominican Republic. And Pool D runner-up, Venezuela. So I highly recommend that you go out and watch my first 4 parts first before watching this video, as like I said before, already given some analysis in those. So the first quarterfinals game we'll have is the United States winner of Pool A. The winner of Pool B versus Canada, which is the runner-up of Pool A. So the United States strengths, as I went over before, all-star lineup, one of the best lineups ever produced, maybe the best lineup in this tournament. You got Cal Raleigh, Bryce Harper, Gunnar Henderson, Alex Bregman, Bobby Witt, Roman Anthony, Byron Buxton, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, all in the starting lineup, plus PCA and others on the bench. Will Smith, too, on the bench. One of the best catchers in baseball is on the bench because the best catcher is starting. So, again, very, very deep lineup. It's going to be hard to beat this team. And then, again, scary good starting pitching. You got Scooble, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, Joe Ryan. Obviously Scooble and Skeens are the elite of the elite. I think they're the best 2 starting pitchers in baseball. But again, Webb and Ryan, both really, really good pitchers, both all-stars. So it doesn't even matter who Canada gets here. It's going to be a tough time for them. And then again, elite and deep bullpen. Brad Keller, Clay Holmes, Clayton Kershaw, David Bednar, Gabe Speier, Garrett Clevenger, Garrett Whitlock, Griffin Jacks, Michael Waka, Mason Miller, Matthew Boyd, Noah McLean. All those guys, very, very, very good pitchers. It's going to be tough to, if you get down, it's going to be tough to come back. Once it goes over to the bullpen, it's going to be hard to score. And then for Canada, their lineup is very talented, a lot of MLB talent. You got catcher Bo Naylor, first base Josh Naylor, second base Edward Julian, shortstop Otto Lopez, left field Tyler O'Neill, center field Denzel Clark, right field Owen Casey. All those guys are very talented MLB hitters, or in the sense of Denzel Clark, maybe not the most talented hitter, but still does provide good defense and good speed. All those guys are talented, and I think that lineup it can compete with pretty much everyone. The problem is their pitching is thin. The rotation is solid. There are a lot of veterans. Jameson Taillon, Cal Quantrill, James Paxton, Michael Soroka. All those guys have experience in the MLB, and they can give you a good outing. However, the bullpen, pretty weak. And again, when you just look at the starting pitching compared to the starting pitching of the USA, whoever the USA throws out there will be significantly better than whoever Canada throws out there. Even though, Jameson Taillon had a good season last year and is their best pitcher, I would take any four of the starting pitchers that the U.S. would throw out and starting pitchers that are in their bullpen over what Canada would throw out. So I think United States wins this one with little resistance. And then the second one, second quarterfinals game is Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Puerto Rico's strengths is that they have a veteran-filled lineup. Martin Maldonado, Willie Castro, Nolan Arenado, Eddie Rosario, MJ Melendez, Heliot Ramos, Christian Vasquez all have lots of MLB experience. They might be not the most talented anymore, and I'd say majority of those guys, besides a few exceptions, are past their prime. But again, when you got veterans, they have experience in these types of games, a lot of experience in the World Baseball Classic. I think that's going to be very beneficial for them. And then the bullpen, again, Fernando Cruz, Edwin Diaz, and some others, very, very solid bullpen. Edwin Diaz, one of the best closers, if not the best closer in baseball. And again, they got some other good guys there. I just worry about their pitching depth. I assume Seth Lugo would take them out in this game. Definitely their best starting pitcher, but again, they just don't have the quality besides a few guys that some other teams have. Mexico has a very good lineup. They have a good mix of contact power and clutch hitters. You look at guys like Alejandro Kirk, Jonathan Aranda. Both those guys can provide contact. You look at guys like Arozarena, Rowdy Tellez, and Jaron Duran. They got some good pop. And then clutch hitters. Rando Arozarena, one of the most clutch hitters in baseball. Alejandro Kirk has came up in big moments in the past. It's like they just have a really solid lineup. But Mexico's weakness, their starters aren't great. Whoever they throw out here, Javier Assad, Taiwan Walker, Tosh Bradley, it's just a question mark who you're getting. And then again, you got Andres Munoz pitching that ninth inning or possibly sooner if it's a all-out must-win situation. But again, besides him, you don't have really much in this bullpen. Robert Garcia is a solid pitch reliever too, but again, you don't have that much. So I think Mexico would probably be expected to win this game. However, I do give the edge to Puerto Rico in this game just because I do think the veteran filled lineup will be able to at least cancel out Mexico's lineup. And I like the pitching a little better for Puerto Rico. So I'm going to give the nod to Puerto Rico in the upset in this one. And then game 3 of the quarterfinals, we'll have the Dominican Republic versus Korea. This is another team in the Dominican Republic that's just filled with all-stars. Their lineup is insane. Augusto Ramirez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Geraldo Perdomo, Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Junior Caminero. All those guys are stars. And then you got Jeremy Pena on the bench, who's also a very, very solid player as well. This lineup is one of the best in the tournament, and they're very close to the U.S. You could flip a coin to pick which one's better, the U.S. or this one. That's how good this lineup is. And then again, veteran starting pitching. Christopher Sanchez, really, really good last year. Alcantara, Brian Bayo, Luis Severino. So whoever they throw out in this game, I think will be able to do the job against Korea. And then the bullpen, elite and deep. Abner Uribe, Camilo Doval, Carlos Esteves, Dennis Santana, Edwin Uceta, Gregory Soto, Anthony Dominguez, Wandy Peralta. All those guys are elite, and all those guys will be able to get you innings deep in the game. They'll be able to throw strikeouts. It'll be tough to hit. And then Korea's strengths, they do have some good contact hitters. Haesung Kim, Do Young Kim, Jung Ho Lee, all those guys have great contact skills. And Do Young Kim has the most power, but that's the thing. They lack the power of other teams. They don't have the pop I just don't really see them being able to produce home runs, which is okay. They'll just have to play a little bit. They'll have to play some small ball to win these games. And then they do have some experienced pitchers, right? Hyunjin Ryu had a very, very, very solid MLB career. He's not pitching in MLB anymore. He's pitching in Korea now. But again, he has a lot of experience, a lot of playoffs. He's pitched in the World Baseball Classic before. That's huge. It's always huge to have experience. And again, they got some other MLB guys in the bullpen: Dan Dunning, Riley O'Brien, Woo Suk Go. But again, elite pitching is non existent. I would say right now the most elite is Riley O'Brien. And again, he would just be another guy in the Dominican bullpen. I think this will be one of the more, I don't want to say a blowout game, but one of the more easier wins of the quarterfinals. I think the Dominican will just be able to handle whatever Korea throws their way in terms of pitching. And I mean, this is just a Dominican Republic lineup and starting rotation and bullpen that you just don't want to mess with. And I think Dominican Republic wins fairly easy. Quarterfinals game 4, you got Japan versus Venezuela. Japan's strengths, well balanced and good lineup. I mean, you got one of the best hitters in baseball, Shohei Ohtani. You got some really good hitters as well, Masataka Murakami, Kazuma Kotomo, Seiya Suzuki. All those guys are really, really solid. Uh, you can notice some of these teams I didn't mention weaknesses for, notably United States and the Dominican. Well, both those teams I didn't. But again, back to the strengths. Uh, Japan has already had lots of experience in the World Baseball Classic with their hitters and their pitchers. You look at the good chunk of their lineup and pitching staff have all had experience in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. Some of these guys, such as Murakami, haven't played in the MLB yet. Murakami will this year, but they have played high quality baseball in Japan and have produced at a high level in the World Baseball Classic tournament in 2023 when they won it all. So again, I think that will play into it here. Why they're that'll be one of their strengths this year, I think, in this tournament. As I mentioned, no weaknesses. Same thing with Venezuela. No real weaknesses. This is a really, really solid team. Uh, their lineup, elite and deep. Salvador Perez, Luis Arias, Eugenio Suarez, Michael Garcia, Jackson Churio, Ronald Acuna Jr., Gleyber Torres. All those guys can hit at a very high level. And then again, you got Andres Jimenez and Willie Abreu, who can also provide their own skills as well. And then again, experienced pitching staff. Ranger Suarez, obviously their top starter. But again, Herman Marquez, Eduardo Rodriguez, Manuel De Jesus, and then the bullpen, Antonio Centella, Eduardo Bazardo, Jose Alvarado, Jose Buto, Angel Zerpa. These guys are experienced. These guys are really solid. So making a pick for this game, this was definitely the toughest game in the quarterfinals. I kind of hinted at it in the part 3 of this series, my thoughts on Japan this year. I don't think they are as good as last time because they're missing some guys on the pitching side of things. Otani's not pitching this year. Roki Sasaki isn't pitching for them this year. And those were big guys that helped them out. And I mean, if you Yamamoto will probably throw in this game. However, I just think Venezuela's lineup is that good. There's only a few lineups that I think could handle Yamamoto in this tournament. Venezuela is one of them. And again, I like the bullpen better than Japan's. So I think I got to give it to Venezuela here in the upset over Japan. So our first semifinal game will be the United States versus Puerto Rico. We'll talk about the United States again first. As I said, all the same things. Their lineup, their starting pitching, their elite and bullpen depth. But the additional thing to note here is the designated player pool, which a designated player pool, if you haven't heard about that yet, you haven't watched my first 4 parts, so go watch those once again. I'll mention it. But in the semifinals and championship, you can replace pitchers on your roster with pitchers from your designated player pool. You can pitch up. You can replace up to 4 in the semis and up to 2 in the championship. So that's going to come into a lot of the analysis of these semifinal and championship games here in the tournament. And as I listed here, the designated pitcher pool options for the United States are top notch. Tim Hill, Jeff Hoffman, Tyler Rogers, Matt Strom, Will Vest, all those guys are elite relief pitchers, and I think they will all be able to contribute if added to the roster here. And Puerto Rico's strengths, you'll notice that I had their weakness as like pitching depth, but when they get to the designated pitcher pool uh, additions, Jose Barrios and Alexis Diaz are notable guys. Jose Barrios would probably end up pitching this game. He's not in his prime anymore, but he's still a very solid veteran. And Alexis Diaz will add to the bullpen. Puerto Rico is a tougher team in the semis and championship by far because of this, I think. So I do think the United States will have a tougher time if they played them in the semis than the quarterfinals. But again, when you have that lineup, when you have that scary good pitching, it's tough to beat them. So I'm going to go with the United States. And then the semifinals, game 2, Dominican Republic versus Venezuela. In part 4 of the series, I gave the first round to the Dominican. So we'll see what I think here. Let's see. So first thing I want to mention is their designated player pool additions. And again, I think I hinted this. Maybe it was last part 4 of the series. I mentioned Luis Castillo they add. So Luis Castillo would be an addition. And again, I don't know if he would pitch this game because they still have Christopher Sanchez, Sandy Alcantara, Brian Mbeo, Luis Severino. Obviously, one of them won't be able to pitch, and probably multiple of them because they already pitched. So Luis Castillo might start, but even if he doesn't, he could be a good option in the bullpen. But I think there is a high chance he would start. So again, that's big. But on the flip side, Venezuela's designated player pool addition also are huge. Specifically, Jesus Luzardo. So both of them are adding a designated player pool starter, and it's just going to be another tough matchup. I think the first one would have been really, really close. I think if they play again, it'll be really, really close. I do think that Dominican Republic's bullpen is deeper. I think their pitching is just better overall. But again, I think Venezuela is just as good pitching. I think these lineups, I might give the edge to the Dominican, but Venezuela is right there. It's hard to beat a team twice in baseball. They would have matched up about a week earlier, give or take, in the same place a week before this matchup. It's hard to beat a team twice. I think I'm going to go with Venezuela in the upset, if you even want to call it that. Again, we got the USA winning the other semifinal game. We got these two teams in the semifinals here. I legitimately think these 3 teams that I just mentioned are some of the best baseball teams of all time. So even though one of them has to lose, they're still a very, very good team. It's just hard to beat a team twice, so I'm going with Venezuela. And again, we got the United States versus Venezuela in the championship. The real thing that I think changes here compared to other times, I think, the United States, again, the designated player pool options are elite. So even if they do have some tired arms, they can replace them. Venezuela, on the other hand, isn't as tough. Again, you got Ranger Suarez, who's pretty solid, and then you got some guys in the bullpen that's pretty solid. And then Jesus Luzardo. But again, you would expect Jesus Luzardo would be starting in the semis, so he wouldn't be available for this game. You would assume Ranger Suarez has pitched in the quarters or late in the pool play, so he's not there. So that leaves you with Herman Marquez, Eduardo Rodriguez, or Emmanuel De Jesus to start the game. And they're all veterans, but again, when you're facing the all-star lineup of the United States, it's not easy to go through that lineup. And then again, in the bullpen, they got solid options, as I mentioned before. But again, can they keep the United States lineup under control? Which it's a good question if the United States can keep Venezuela's lineup under control, because their lineup is just as good, pretty much. Maybe a little worse, but again, still really, really good. I just think that the pitching depth of Venezuela is a lot thinner than the United States. Not really a huge deal up until this point of the tournament, but at this point in the tournament, already have 6 games under your belt. The designated player pool additions outside of Jesus Luzardo aren't anything special compared to the United States, where they're all elite relievers. So I think Venezuela will just run out of gas here. I do think the United States will win another World Baseball Classic and finally win another one since the 2017 one. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for watching this series. This was a really fun series to make and record. The World Baseball Classic is one of my favorite tournaments in sports, and I'm really looking forward to this year's edition. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on X at RallyCap Reviews, and have a good rest of your day. And I hope you enjoy watching the World Baseball Classic coming up here.